Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Jaya Gopi Yashodanandana Yamuna Kiravana Yamuna Kiravana Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Nitya Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol. Jai Mishrupada Paramahamsa Parivraja Acharya Ashtadarshad Srimati Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki Granthara Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki Jai Go Pranante Hari Hari Bol. So please repeat after me. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So thank you all once again for joining. Can you hear me in back? We can hear? Okay, good. Thank you. So this is a Sunday feast in Tobacco, in ISKCON. All over the world on Sunday, we have a special feast program where devotees get together and worship the Supreme Lord. So here we have on our altar Shri Gauranetai, Sitaram Hanuman, Shinaji, and of course Srila Prabhupada, Bhaktivedanta Thakur, and the Parampara. We're very fortunate to be able to come together like this in the assembly of other devotees who like serving the Lord. It is a very rare opportunity to do this. And so we feel very fortunate, and you all are also very fortunate to be here. You could have been anywhere else this time, but being in front of the Lord is nothing greater. So today we'll talk about one verse in the Bhagavad Gita, verse 7:16, chapter 7, verse number 16. Chaturvidha bhajante mam jana sukritinurjana Chaturvidha bhajante mam jana sukritinurjana Arto jigyasuratharthi Jnani cha bharatarshava. Chaturvidha bhajante mam Jana sukritinurjana Arto jigyasuratharthi Jnani cha bharatarshava. Chaturvidha bhajante mam Jana sukritinurjana Arto jigyasuratharthi Jnani cha bharatarshava. Chaturvidha bhajante mam Jana sukritinurjana Arto jigyasuratharthi Jnani cha bharatarshava. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki. O best among the Bharatas, 4 kinds of pious men begin to render devotional service unto me. The distressed, the desire of wealth, the inquisitive, and he who is searching for knowledge of the Absolute. Purport. Unlike the miscreants, these are adherents of the scriptures, and they are called sukritina, or those who obey the rules and regulations of scriptures, the moral and social laws, and are more or less devoted to the Supreme Lord. Out of these four classes of men, those who are sometimes distressed, those who are in need of money, those who are sometimes inquisitive, and those who are sometimes searching after knowledge of the absolute truth. These persons come to the Supreme Lord for devotional service under different conditions. They're not pure devotees because they have some aspiration to fulfill in exchange for devotional service. Pure devotional service is without aspiration and without desire for material profit. The Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu 1.1.11 defines pure devotion thus: Anyabhilashita shunyam jnana karmadhyana anukulyena krishnanushanam bhaktiruttama. One should render transcendental loving service to the Supreme Lord Krishna favorably and without desire for material profit or gain through fruitive activities or philosophical speculation. That is called pure devotional service. So when these four kinds of purified by association of a pure devotee, they also become pure devotees. As far as the miscreants are concerned, for them devotional service is very difficult because their lives are selfish, irregular, and without spiritual goals. But even some of them, by chance, when they come in contact with a pure devotee, also become pure devotees. Those are always busy with good activities, come to the Lord in material distress. And at that time, with pure devotees and become, in their distress, devotees of the Lord. Those who are simply frustrated also come sometimes to associate with the pure devotees and become inquisitive to know about God. Similarly, when the dry philosophers are frustrated in every field of knowledge, they sometimes want to learn of God, and they come to the Supreme Lord to render devotional service, and thus transcend knowledge of the impersonal Brahman and the localized Paramatma and come to the personal conception of Godhead by the grace of the Supreme Lord or his pure devotees. On the whole, when the distressed, the inquisitive, the seekers of knowledge, and those who are in need of money are free from all material desires, and when they fully understand that material remuneration has nothing to do with spiritual improvement, they become pure devotees. As long as such a purified stage is not attained, devotees in transcendental service to the Lord are tainted with fruitive activities, search for mundane knowledge, etc. So one has to transcend all this before one can come to the stage of pure devotional service. Shri Prabhupada ki. Om Mirandaya Jnana Jana Shalaya Churunmilitayena Tasmai Shri Gure Namaha Shri Chay Shri Yoshita Padakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagara Raghunathavitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Deenbandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Taptakanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Patarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Etanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vashadi Gaur Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. The four types of pious persons. Best among the Bharatas. Four kinds of pious men begin to render devotional service unto me. Chaturvidha bhajante mam. Jana sukritin. Sukritana means pious. They've done something good. Who are these four kinds? The distressed, the desire of wealth, the inquisitive, and he who is searching for knowledge of the absolute truth. Absolute. Right? The distressed, arthati, desire of wealth, the inquisitive, and one who is searching for knowledge of the absolute. Now, suppose, say we have a friend who never comes to the temple. We know, like, he's a neighbor or friend. They know that we go to the temple. They've heard of the temple. They never come to the temple. They know where they might have come once, 12 years ago or something, but they don't come. And all of a sudden, we see them start coming. And they're praying, closing is really, really tight and trying to connect. And we might wonder, what changed? What is their motive? Why are they here? I've been trying to, they never come, and when I stop calling them, like after 2 years, then all of a sudden he's here. What's going on? What is their motive? Sometimes we may want to ask them what's their motive. But there's something infinitely more important than someone else's motive. We should wonder about our own motive. What is my motive to come to the temple? Why do I engage in this Krishna conscious practice? Is it the same motive that I had when I first started approaching this process? How have my motives changed as time has gone by? You should think about these things, isn't it? Let's take a little poll. Okay, so you just raise your hand. Who came to the movement because of curiosity? Just wondering what this is about. Raise your hand. Just what is all this about? Yes, we go 1, 2, the same family. Yes. Okay, so you guys are curious. And Singh family also. I don't know, Prabhuji, he was curious. Maybe he's curious why you're putting your hand up. But so curiosity. Yes, we're curious. What is this? Something, yes, kind of unusual. What is this? All this jumping up and down. So, or how many of you wanted to solve either a health, financial, relationship, or other material issue? The one over there. Yes. Yes. So we have quite a few of those. A few. And how many came because of a drive to seek and understand God? Like, really want to know what is God. Yes. You can do both. Yeah, you can have overlap this problem. No worries. Most people, it seems like a lot. And then about other category. Everybody else put. How came because the family already started coming and you're kind of born into it. There's quite a few of those. Yeah. Family already going, yes. Because of family relation, right? So there is one thing to talk about why we started coming, or what got us into the door. And if you look at the purport, Prabhupada talks about how things change actually. If you read the purport carefully, yes, those who come in, sure, they came in through one of these four paths. Or maybe there's other category also, like you're born in Vaishnavi family or something like that, then you're very fortunate, So like that, if you're born in devotee family, or just maybe grandfather's doing it. I think you come from a long line of devotees. I come from a long line of men who had children, for example. So like that, whatever lineage you may be, but somehow whatever gets into the door. Amrita Sindhu defines pure devotion as anyabhilashita shunyam. Shunya means zero. Everyone knows this. Abhilasha means what? Some desire, aspiration. Anya means some other. So who has zero, some other desires? He has absolutely zero desires of anything else other than what? Krishna. That's right. Other than pure service, selfless service to Krishna. And no trace of jnana karmadhyanavritam. No traces of this mental speculative realization, a mental speculative understanding of Godhead. That's what we call jnana. Where is your own jnana, come to the conclusion what is God, what is the highest truth. No, we don't have the impersonal conclusions. Karmadi, karma means like this fruitive activities. I work hard, I get some money. Want more money, less hard work. Better no work, just money only. Whatever. And you want to keep shifting that ratio, right? In the beginning, like when you're young, you know what? I don't care the salary is small. I'm going to work hard, make a career. And as time passes, we want the ratio to shift substantially. Work a little bit less and make a lot more money. I mean, I'm going into management. It means I work less, but make other people work. But I'll get more money than them. And then I want to become super director, but I'm hardly doing any work, and I have 8 weeks of vacation, and like, but where's my big bonus? So like we want that ratio, but it's always thinking about something fruitive, how much more I can enjoy for the work that I'm doing. But we don't want any taint of that. Zero, no abhilasha at all for that. Only Krishna. Now, what is that abhilasha? I strongly want something, and if it's purely Krishna, then we have reached the stage where Rupa Goswami advises. Right? And this is called highest bhakti, or bhakti darkness. Uttama means above the darkness. Uttama, highest. So material gain, of course, is obviously a selfish motive. And impersonal liberation is also a selfish motive. We have the 4 Purushartha. What is that? Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. Out of these 4, which one is selfless? Dharma. Or? Yeah. Was that Prabhu Prabhu? Who said everything? Everything is selfish. Yeah. Somebody said everything is selfish. True. Because dharma in this context refers to religiosity. Not religion really, but religiosity for the purpose of getting artha. That's why I put in a row like that. There's a sequence. You do some religiosity, you'll get artha. Artha means what? Money, some profit, some material gain. Dharma, artha. And then what do you do with money? You can't eat the money. I mean, you have so much money. Then what do you do with the money? You enjoy with the money, right? You eat something nice, and then whatever's left over, we either invest it for the hope of enjoying something in the future, or you enjoy the money right now. So, you go on nice vacations, or whatever it is, like something enjoyable. Dharma, artha. So kama means these kamanas, selfish desires. That's what kama means. To fulfill that, we need the money. You can't really much with just a little. If you're broke, no one's going to care for you. So, right? It's true. So you got dharma, you get money, and they come. But what happens is when you go for all these vacations and you go for all these different relationships, you try for that, and then they end up being more. They don't deliver on their promise. So you get frustrated, tolerating. Oh, this is life. At some point, the frustration builds up so much that I will get out of this. I want relief from this. That is moksha. So again, moksha is not something to do with God in this context. It is I want relief. I've had enough of this. This whole cycle, having more money is, it doesn't live up to its promise. I want to get out of here. So again, dharma, artha, kama, moksha is all selfish. Krishna is inviting us to rise above all this selfishness. So often, as we grow older, we ask ourselves, what is the essence of Krishna consciousness? When we reflect on this, we know the essence is pure, unalloyed bhakti. Now, when we hear that, especially we've done it for some years, and we don't see that purity coming through quite yet, we might feel discouraged, noticing that we are not pure. However, when our acharyas speak of unalloyed bhakti, they refer to the purity of the bhakti, not the purity of the performer of the bhakti. This is a huge difference. It's a very important distinction we have to understand. Rupa Goswami writes in his Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu that any activity done for Krishna in the favorable mood, anukulyana, with the pure aim or the singular aim of pleasing Krishna without our selfish desire. That qualifies as bhakti, pure bhakti. He's not talking about the person. That act is pure bhakti. That's important. In other words, whenever we do something for Krishna to please him and we have no other intention, then in that moment we have acted in unalloyed bhakti. This means that even if a neighbor who doesn't practice bhakti comes to the temple and brings something to the altar of Shri Gaur Nitai with a desire to please the Lord or his devotees, someone just brings some fruits, so it doesn't matter, or just brings a flower to Krishna, completely selflessly. Maybe he may not be pure in his actions and his behavior and his lifestyle, but that act is pure bhakti. This means that no matter where we stand in our progression of self-purification, we can always focus on this understanding that I am doing this for the Lord. I am doing this for Radha Krishna. It is theirs. I recognize it is theirs. This is for their sake. This is meant for their enjoyment. It is not meant for me. Anybody did the Nashinga Yagya we did out here? Was anybody see that Nashinga Yagya? Right? We say idam narsimhaya idam na mama. This is for Nashinga. It is not for me. Na mama. We repeating that to remind ourselves. So when we do something for the Lord, my Lord, this is for you. This is not for me. And we smile. The Lord smiles back. That moment we have performed unalloyed devotional service. Pure devotional service. Now, if we have this consciousness continuously, or we put a string of these together, then we have more and more devotional service that we put in our, on that momentum. We can build on that momentum. So as long as we can stay on that platform, we are performing pure devotional service. So it's all about these things, right? Motivation, intention, and our consciousness at the time of activity. It's not that hard to change it because it's just for the duration of that activity. Now, obviously, not all of us are able to stay on this platform non-stop, continuously. We return to other levels where we again think of our own interests, our own desires, our own plans, our own pains. That's fine. For instance, we may offer an action to Krishna partially because we have a desire, mixed with simply because we like to do that service. I like to do it, so I'm going to do it. Even that is not fully pure because we're doing it because we enjoy doing it. We enjoy doing it. But when we do something just to please Krishna, we may not even like to do it. For a moment, for a second, for a millisecond, that is pure bhakti. Okay? This pure bhakti is eternal. Even when we die, the eternal benefit stays with us. Nehabhikramanashosi pratyavayana vidyate swalpamapyasya dharmasya trayate mahato bhaya. Even a little bit of endeavor in this process is a permanent asset and frees you from the various type of fear. So the act of that neighbor who comes to the temple not knowing much about Sambandha, Abhideya, Prayojan, these the lofty philosophical tattva principles, and offers a flower thinking this is for God. I offer this to God on his altar. That's pure bhakti. Everything else goes, but the moments of pure bhakti stay with us. And as the accumulator of the account grows, sometimes Krishna is so pleased by a moment of bhakti that he's willing to forget all our mistakes. That's all it takes. Because Krishna is incredibly lenient. He's so lenient that one tiny speck of pure bhakti that we do, he's willing to forego and forget all our mistakes and just focus on that one act of bhakti. In such cases, he offers his devotee a transcendental result beyond even the devotee's wildest imaginations. Bhakti is such a nice thing because it is accessible to everyone. You don't need to have any degrees. You don't need to be knowledgeable. You just need to have a heart. Anybody here does not have a heart? Everyone has a heart, right? His heart. Let us therefore immediately start to engage in unalloyed devotional service. Focus purely on Krishna and his pleasure. So, question to all of you: the 4 kinds of devotees. It's right up there. Are these four kinds of people considered sakama bhaktas? I just had this discussion earlier with Mesh Manipur, so you can answer. Raise your hand if you say yes, sakama bhaktas. Everyone is really like very yes. See, someone bold, yes. That's right. Okay, who says they're not sakama bhaktas? Raise your hand. No one raising hands, anything, everyone is sleeping. There is no other option in this. It's one or the other, you know. Kama, we discussed dharma, artha, kama, moksha. Kama means one who has material desires. Sakama means one who has material desires. Or pure motivation is their only motivation is to fulfill their material desires. That is called sakama. Okay, so now we have the definition. Let's just so now let's see. Are these four kinds of people kama bhaktas? Yeah, sort of. Sound makes sense. That's what I used to think too. I used to be just like you. Not anymore. I came across this very nice purport. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, Srila Prabhupada writes this purport in the 5th canto. He says, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, who is one of the acharyas in our lineage of gurus, he explains that even if a devotee wishes the Lord to fulfill a particular desire, the devotee should not be considered a sakama bhakta, a devotee with some motive. In the Bhagavad Gita 7:16, which is the verse we read earlier, Krishna says, O best among the Bharatas, Arjuna, four kinds of pious men render devotional service unto me. Artha and the Arthati who approach the Supreme Personality of Godhead for relief from misery or for some money are not sakama bhaktas. Interesting. What? Okay. Although they appear to be, being neophyte devotees, they are simply ignorant. Later in Bhagavad Gita, the Lord says, Udara sarva evaite. They are all magnanimous. Udara. He's talking about the same four people, four categories. Although in the beginning, a devotee may harbor some desire, in due course of time, it will vanish. So if you remember, the Prabhupada talks about that. It doesn't matter. What brought you in the devotion service to the Lord? So continuing this purport, Srila Prabhupada explains, therefore the Srimad Bhagavatam enjoins kama sarva kama va moksha kama udaradhi tivrena bhakti yogena yajeta purusham param. A person who has broader intelligence, udaradhi, dhi means udar means who has been very generously endowed with intelligence. Whether he's full of material desires, right, sarva kama, or free from material desires, akama, or has a desire for liberation, moksha kama. All these words are there. By all means, he must worship the Supreme Whole. Yajeta Purushamba, the personality of Godhead. And how should that worship be? What is the key word here? What should that worship? What is the nature of that worship? There's a key word here. Tivrena means what? Intense. So we have to do it with the minimal intensity for it to succeed, right? It doesn't matter whether we are in any of these categories, we must intensely worship the Lord. It is said that the execution of devotional service, the bhakti itself, is so perfect that one can perceive the results directly. This direct result is actually perceived, and we have practical experience that any person who is chanting the holy names of Krishna in course of chanting without offenses feels some transcendental pleasure and very quickly becomes purified of all material contamination. This is actually seen. Furthermore, if one engages not only in hearing, but in trying to broadcast the message of devotional activities as well, or if he engages himself in helping the missionary activities of Krishna consciousness, he gradually feels spiritual progress. You feel it. The reason why devotees come here year after year is because they are feeling it. No one will keep coming, dragging themselves up the slope year after year, every Sunday, if you're not feeling something. This advancement in spiritual life does not depend on any kind of previous education or qualification. We talked about that. The method itself, this bhakti process, is so pure that simply by engaging in it, one becomes pure. So, what is the point? Krishna, think of the four kinds of people, or even whatever category we fall in, we have approached Krishna. Krishna only sees that a person has approached him. That's all that matters to him. And that in and of it is such a great thing. Now, of these four, Krishna mentions the group he likes the most. Which are those? Gyanis, right? Right. Yeah, that's right. So there was one devotee from in our congregation from Guyana. And when he was told that Krishna's favorite are the Gyanis, and he was so happy. He was smiling ear to ear. He said, why is smiling so? He said, Gyanis, huh? Gyanis. Main thing is we should be happy that we are here. Whether we came because we are Guyanese or we are Gyanis is irrelevant. You see? So in a way to clarify, it's not talking about the Guyanese people. But still, it's just that he gives so much to those, even if those are people who approach Krishna to do something for him, are not favorably disposed. Even then he gives so much. Of course, highest is anukulyena. Anukul means favorably disposed. Something nice for Krishna. Offering him the best that we can offer. Finding, like if I know to cook something nice, a signature dish, I'll make it the best and offer it to Krishna for him to taste out of love. Anukul, something positive, something that he'll be pleased, something that anybody you'd offer it would be pleased. That kind of thing. Anybody you give it, they'll be pleased. A flower, some nice place to sit, a few sweet words of appreciation, giving them your attention. This is what we do when we chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, 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 Hare Hare. To give attention to somebody is actually a form of, it's a loving exchange, isn't it? Right? But see, even to those, how lenient Krishna, even those who are not favorably disposed to him, but just because they came close to him, he gives a lot more than they expected. What's the classic example of this? Anybody know? Putana. Putana is a classic example. Of course, I put this is not Putana, that's Lord Brahma. Just want to clarify. But the reason why I put this picture up here. So Putana was a demoness. Her name was Baki. Baki means she is the sister of Bakasura. So her name was Baki. And she tried to kill Krishna, but she was dressed as a devotee. She was dressed as someone very beautiful, and she tried to kill Krishna by how? By feeding like a mother would feed. By what? Feeding poison. Right? But she got killed, so yeah, that's okay, not a very nice thing that she got killed. But she didn't get killed like she didn't just die like an ordinary person dying. She got immediate liberation. It wasn't even impersonal liberation. She got immediately liberated to go to Goloka Dham, Vrindavan, the highest spiritual planet where Lord Krishna performed his pastime. And she got the highest service of personally serving the Lord as the many motherly goals. Incredible. So imagine how lenient Krishna was to Putana. Now that act of mercy, Brahma could see. He saw Putana go up. He saw her getting, he has a vision. So, and right, he has a lot more eyes than 8 eyes. He saw transcendental eyes that she got liberated. And he was bewildered. And then when he was praying to Lord Krishna, this is the Brahma Vimohan Leela, as part of his prayers, he sang this beautiful verse. Now, what I like about this particular verse, one of my favorite Bhagavatam verses, it's sung in meter that's only maybe 5 verses in the whole Bhagavatam that has this meter. First verse, second verse, and then this one, like, yeah. Shardul Vikrida. Shardul Vikrida means the play of the tiger. That's the name of the meter. It's very beautiful. So he sings this. He says, Yesham Ghosha Nivasinam Bhavan Kim Devarate Tina Jeto Vishvaphalat Phalam Tvadaparam Kutrapyayan Muhyati Sadveshadiva Putanapi Sakula Tvameva Deva Pita Tadhamat Suhrit Priyatmatanaya Pranashaya Svatkrite. This is the verse is there in reference 10, 14, 35. What is the meaning of this verse? Brahma says, my mind becomes bewildered. He says, I'm confused, I'm blown. Just trying to think of what reward other than you could be found anywhere. He says, you're the highest reward, Krishna. There's no greater reward than you. You are the embodiment of all benedictions, which you bestow upon these residents of the cowherd community of Vrindavan, the Vrajvasis. You are giving yourself to them. Now, he says, you have already arranged to give yourself to Putana and her family members. See, she gets a family member discount because she got something good, everybody in the family automatically, it's like, you get it. It's like life membership in ISKCON, Somehow, I have the passport, but this is my, uncle's passport. Anyway, somehow everybody thinks just use it. But with this liberation that Krishna gives, whole family gets blanket. So then everybody says, yeah, I'm also religion. So, but yeah, you have given yourself to Putana and her family members. Why? Sadvesha diva Putana pi sakula. What is her great thing that she did? The only thing that she did was sadvesh. You know what is sadvesh? What does vesh mean? Dress. So like we said, satsang. Satsang means like we get together devotees, devotee sang. The sadvesh means devotee dress. Just by dressing up as someone who's favorably inclined to Krishna, just pretending to be a devotee. Right? For disguising yourself as a devotee, you gave yourself to her. So now he's saying, my Lord, you have bankrupted yourself. So what is left for you to give these devotees of Vrindavan, whose homes, their wealth, their friends, their dear relations, their bodies, their children, and their very lives and hearts are all dedicated only to you? Very beautiful poem that Lord Brahma is reciting to glorify the Lord. How super merciful you are. That for Putana just pretending to be devoted. Imagine if we are now moved beyond pretending to be devotees and we try to sincerely access the mercy of the Lord and chant the name of the Lord. When we do something for the Lord with a pure intention, certainly we must have confidence that the Lord will be favorably disposed. So let us chant. So this is called surrender. Krishna says, 4 people surrender to me, the worship. So surrender is very important. So let us chant together now with the intensity and focus and purity that we can muster. In a mood of surrender to the Lord. Lord, I'm yours. Okay, let us not waste this chance. Don't waste this chance. Let us do it in a group that is so intent on being pure devotees that the Lord will listen to us. Sometimes you do in a group petition, sometimes the Lord listens. When the demigods, they go to the shore of the ocean, it's not that just one person goes, the whole group goes. So let's pretend we're all just a group of people. We not going to pretend we are a group of people. And then let us like very purely ask the Lord, my Lord, make me the way you want me to be. That's it. I don't know even so much what you want me to be. So let me open up all the avenues of my heart. Let me chant in front of you. Let us chant together one time this Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Hare. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Bol, Hare Krishna. So, do you have any comments or questions? Namras Prabhupada.
Also is sometimes seen as example of someone who was not under because he was thinking about Krishna. So why was Putana transferred to the?
Yes,
Because she wasn't Korean either.
that's a good question. So let me repeat the question. Kansa, he was also Krishna conscious. He's conscious of Krishna. He couldn't even sleep. At night, he was like, Krishna, Krishna. He kept having nightmares about Krishna. Well, how come he didn't get the liberation? So, I mean, it's said that all demons got liberated. And even anybody Krishna killed got liberated. Some demons got kind of liberation where it is impersonal because maybe that's what they desired. Or they got like with Shishupal, it was different. He got absorbed in the body of Krishna, and then I think got transferred again because Shishupal are the gatekeepers of the world, right? Shishupal and then so with Kansa also they got liberated. So all demons got liberated. However, there's an important distinction with Putana. Because Putana has a backstory. Kansa's backstory was he was another demon in past life, Kalanemi. With Putana, she was not a demoness. She was actually, I think, the sister of Bali Maharaj. And she's going to ki. And so during that event, when Bali Maharaj lost everything, so before Bali Maharaj lost everything, Vamanadev came to the yajna to ask for. Now, Vamanadev, what is his specialty? He's not very tall, he is short. And because he's short, he's incredibly cute. He basically looked like a walking baby. So adorable, like chubby, So very, very beautiful. And when the sister of Bali saw the cute, basically this baby with an umbrella, she felt that, oh my God, I wish I had a baby just like this. If I had a baby like this, I would just be, so happy to feed like a mother, breastfeed the baby. She felt an immediate urge, deep urge to serve the Lord in that way. The Lord recorded that, registered that desire. Then, when the Lord became very big and he took everything away from Bali Maharaj, she was still hanging on. She said, oh, this baby should be poisoned. Lord registered that desire also. Okay, you poison me, you can also breastfeed both. Because the initial desire was Lord Anukulya. That carries on. And to then satisfy everything, the Krishna fulfills all desires. And so she became Putna. Yes. Yes.
So when you say 4 types of people surrender to Krishna, what is that surrender mean?
Surrender. Yeah. So when okay, that's the point of surrender. What is surrender? Krishna talks about surrender a lot. Prabhupada talks about surrender. What does surrender mean? Surrender. Which verse does Krishna talk about surrender in 18th chapter? Yeah. Sardarama Parityajya Amekam Sharanam Vraja. Just surrender to me. I'll, in that, I always wondered what is this surrender? But in the purport to that verse, Prabhupada breaks it down. And he quotes Hari Bhakti Vilas, where he says there are 6 components of surrender, right? Dainya, Atma Nivedana. Dainya means humility. Dainya Atma Nivedana means giving the self, like you feel that you really realize that you belong to Krishna. Atma Nivedana. I surrendered. I'm yours. Proprietorship is not mine. And then Goptritve Varana, that I will be always maintained by the Lord. Then doing Avashya Rakshibe Krishna. So Goptritve Varana means Krishna will retain me. And Avashya Rakshibe Krishna. Rakshibe means protect. Vishwasa Palana, to maintain that trust that Krishna will always protect me. And then, so that's, I think, 4 things. That's 4 so far, right? And then, then doing everything favorable to Krishna consciousness and giving up anything unfavorable. If I have a bad habit, like I'm smoking or I'm taking some intoxicant that's damaging my body, it's not favorable to Krishna consciousness. I give up that. And then getting up in the morning, chanting Hare Krishna, eating only Krishna Prasadam, these are favorable things. So take up favorable things, give up unfavorable things, and you maintain in your heart that Krishna protect me always, and that he'll always maintain me. I don't need to worry about my food is going to come from. Why? That stress-free existence is what we want. That is a symptom of surrender. Usually, sometimes surrender in the situation of war, a very stressful thing. I have to surrender because I have no choice. And it's very like I'm going to be in prison. It's a usually negative thing. But with Krishna, when you surrender, it's a positive thing. Why? Because you lose your stress. You don't need to worry about where my next meal is going to come from. Who's going to maintain me? Because that's the symptom of surrender. Now, how does surrender happen? You are at peace. How are you at peace artificially? You cannot be artificially at peace. You have to deeply recognize that Krishna is maintaining me. Then only it will happen. Imagine if you are a child of a millionaire and you wake up in the morning so worried and stressed out that, oh, I'm so worried where my breakfast is going to come from. You're a child of a billionaire. It is an offense to your father to be worried about breakfast. Think about it. Imagine how far, if you're a rich father, how sad you'll feel if you think my son is stressed about his breakfast. What's wrong with you? I'm here. Just see, why you forget it? Our forgetfulness that the Lord is always taking care of us causes our stress. We are children of multi-billionaire Lord who owns all the wealth. Why are we stressed about this? The whole Bhagavad Gita is to remove our stress through the process of surrender. Did you know that? What is the first verse Krishna speaks? Yeah. Ashochan anvashocastvam. He says, don't worry about something that's not worth worrying about. So don't stress. And what's the last word we just read? Saradvanapati. Ma shucha. He ends with stress. Don't worry. So he said, you're worrying about something that's not worth worrying about. So now that you surrender me, don't worry anymore. The whole Gita is about stress management. Everything from the beginning to the end is about removing your worry. Now that you've surrendered to the Lord, ma shucha. That's what it's about. So if we are worried, we are offending the Lord. It is an aparadha. It is an offense. I think we're way over time. But so that's in short, to surrender means to not worry. But how do we do it artificially? We cannot do it artificially. We have to really connect with Krishna. And when we connect with him, we feel his presence in our heart, we feel his presence in our lives, we feel his hand in our lives as our lives go up and down. Yeah, our lives are going to go up and down for sure. If we see Krishna's in it, that yeah, maybe up and down is okay. Food is not a problem. How many here are genuinely worried about food? Nobody. I mean, we're in America. This is a country where the poorest people are fat. Right? Isn't it? Like the poorest people are obese, so you don't worry about food. Then what is there to worry about? Isn't it? Just the Lord. Why should we worry about luxuries that we dream about? Forget it. Luxury is a distraction. Connect with Krishna, you'll find real happiness. Hare Krishna. Shobhad ki. Yes, way out of time, but yes. Hare Krishna. We can discuss at Prasadam time, Prabhu. Hare Bol.